Hi everyone! In this presentation, I will be walking you through my initial thesis proposal, which looks at the influence of conspicuous consumption and financial literacy on the financial sustainability of young Pilates practitioners in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am Nisha Monique Alnidita, a master student at Inti International University, Malaysia, and I am excited to share this with you. If you take a walk through the trendy neighborhoods of Kuala Lumpur, places like Bangsar, Mont Kiara, or Damansara, you cannot miss them. The sleek minimalist storefronts of Pilates Studio filled with young professionals in the latest activewear. A decade ago, this would have been an unusual sight, but today, Pilates is not just a form of exercise, it is a booming social phenomenon. What's fascinating is how it has transformed. It has evolved from a niche workout into a powerful social signal. And this is where my curiosity turned into a research question. When a Pilates class can cost significantly more than a standard gym membership, I started to wonder about the real motivation behind this spending. Are young professionals investing in Pilates primarily for its physical and mental benefits, or is the driving force the desire to be seen, to belong to a certain social circle, and to project an image of success? In simpler terms, are they prioritizing style over genuine financial and wellness substance? This question is the heart of my thesis. I am exploring the critical intersection between a powerful wellness trend and the concept of financial responsibility. In a city where the cost of living is steadily rising and household debt is concerned, understanding why most of young generation spend their money, especially on lifestyle and status, is not just an academic exercise. It is a crucial question for the financial well-being of an entire generation. The key problem is that this type of wellness spending is not just a personal choice, it is a financial test. Requires financial responsibility to navigate the allure of social benefits without compromising one's economic future. To understand this properly, I am building on three key theories. First, there is conspicuous consumption, theory by Veblen. The idea that people sometimes buy things mainly to show their social status. A Pilates membership fits this perfectly as modern status symbol. And then, there is theory of planned behavior by Zen, which helps explain the psychology behind spending decisions. It looks at people's personal beliefs about Pilates, the social pressure they feel, and whether they believe they can actually afford it. Finally, there is financial literacy on 2020, the knowledge and skills that help people make smarter money decisions. I am curious whether this can help counterbalance that urge to spend for status reason. This might has been studied before, and some parts of it have, but what is missing? The research that puts all these pieces together, especially in the Malaysian context. We don't really know how financial literacy affects status-driven health spending here in urban Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. That's where my research comes in. My main goal is to examine how conspicuous consumption, finance literacy, and financial sustainability all interact. Specifically, I want to first understand why young people spend lavishly on Pilates. Second, assess their actual financial health. Thirdly, see how status seeking directly affects their finances. Last and most importantly, find out if financial literacy can make a positive difference. 1. Who exactly am I studying? I am focusing on 200 young working adults between 25 and 25 years old who are active Pilates members in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The research model is pretty straightforward. I'm looking at conspicuous spending as the main driver, financial sustainability as the outcome, and financial literacy as what might change the relationship. To get this data, I will be using an online survey that I will distribute to the some of the studios Pilates in Malaysia, and I think it's efficient and works well for researching for reaching this demographic. Now you might be wondering, how do you measure something like conspicuous consumption or financial sustainability? I am using established measurement scales that researchers have already tested and validated. For conspicuous consumption, I am using a scale that measures status seeking in wellness services. For financial literacy, I am using the OECD's standard question that tests understanding of basic financial concepts. And for financial sustainability, I am measuring practical things like saving habits, debt management, and financial stress levels. All of this will use a simple 5-point scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And then, next, based on everything we have discussed, here are my main predictions. First, I expect that conspicuous spending will have a negative impact on financial sustainability. Basically, the more people spend to show off, the worse their financial health will be. Second, I think financial literacy will help improve people's financial security. But the most important but the most interesting hypothesis is the third one. I believe financial literacy can actually reduce the negative impact of status driven spending. In other words, even if someone is tempted to spend for status reasons, being financially literate might help protect them from the worst financial consequences. Okay, once I collect the survey data, here's how I will analyze it using statistical software. First, I will run some basic checks to make sure the data is reliable and our measurements are working properly. Then, I will use regression analysis to test the first two hypotheses, looking at the direct relationship between our main variables. Finally, for that for that key third hypothesis about financial literacy's protective role, I will use a spatial analysis called moderation analysis using the process tools. This will tell us whether financial literacy really does change the relationship between status spending and financial outcomes. You might be asking, why does it matter? Well, I think the findings could be really useful in two main areas. First, for Pilates studios and wellness businesses, this research could help them understand their customers better and build more sustainable business models. Instead of just selling status, they could focus on genuine health benefits that create loyal, financially healthy customers. And for the financial educators and policymakers, this could help design better financial literacy programs. If we understand why young people are spending this way, we can create programs that actually address the real pressure they face in today's social media driven world. So, to wrap up, I'm investigating how status driven spending on wellness activities like Pilates affects young adults' financial health, and whether financial literacy can help. I have developed a clear methodology to this test, and I believe the result will be valuable for both business and financial educators. Thank you for watching this presentation. I appreciate your time and consideration.